All right, we're going to be recording this session. So good afternoon. My name's Amy Good. I'm the program manager for the Community Education Center. We create programs to help students with career exploration, and today's session is to provide you an opportunity to gain more insight and exposure in a few career fields and assist you in analyzing your own future career choices. So let me see a thumbs up if you have an idea of what it is you want to do after high school. Thumbs up, anybody? A couple of you? All right. So today will be for those of you that don't know, maybe you'll find something that interests you today. So our guests today are Krystal Meade. She's a human resources manager for the alcohol and drug abuse services. And then we have Officer Whitcomb from the PA State Police. So welcome today.
Thank you.
I think we'll start off with you guys just introducing us, what your thoughts were back in high school, where you thought you were headed, if you got there or how you pivoted along the way. So Krystal, do you want to go ahead and get us started?
Absolutely. So I'm Krystal. As Ms. Good already stated, I am the administrative assistant / HR director for alcohol and drug abuse services. In high school, my career goals were business administration, anything with numbers. Honestly, I love doing business, pieces of that, whether it's bookkeeping, accounting, things such as that. So that was my goal, and I ended up there, and I'm thankful for that.
Amy?
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Krystal. Officer Whitcomb, do you want to go next?
Sure. My name's Trooper John Whitcomb, obviously with the Pennsylvania State Police. During high school, I really didn't know, other than I wanted to be a police officer, what I wanted to do. I knew that would require college at some point, but things didn't work out for me quite that way. So I started in the job field. Actually started at Pennsylvania Press Metals at the time, which is now GKN. Worked there for a little bit, and then I went into the military. And after the military, I got out, and then I went to college, obtained my associate degree, and here I am.
And what is it that you took in college to get?
Associate degree, in my field of study was human development and family studies.
All right. To become a police officer, is there a certain path that one would have to go on?
Well, in our particular department, no. Just an associate degree is all it's required, or 60 college credits. Unless you went to the military for 4 years, those 60 college credits would be waived. Also, if you were to go into an Act 120 job, which is municipal police, you can also have credits waived to get into our department. So.
Okay. All right. Krystal, is there special training that you have to do to be a human resources manager?
For the job that I have specifically, in the civil service type title that I carry, we did have to have some training that is equivalent to a bachelor's degree of 4 years. So my degree, though, I initially got my associate's degree in business administration from JCC in Olean, New York. I lived at home, drove back and forth, worked at Kmart. But then as I got older and my youngest daughter got a little older, I went back to Houghton University and did their adult education program. It was really great, and finished up my 2 years for my bachelor's.
Okay, great. So Krystal, why don't you tell us like what does what does your day look like? What kind of duties do you do on a regular basis?
For the most part, my day is Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I do have meetings in the evenings sometimes if it's our board of directors, different things such as that. My day normally begins with checking my emails and getting all my ducks in a row for the day. They don't stay in a row very long, but everything from submitting payroll, working on our budgets. I enter all of our bills into our QuickBooks program to be able to cut checks for anything that we owe money for the business. A large piece of it is putting out little fires that you don't plan for throughout the day, whether it be a personnel issue or someone with a personnel policy question. So anything that the employees must follow in regards to policies, I have to be on my A game to know what they're allowed to do or not allowed to do, things such as that. So in a nutshell, that's all the things that can sort of pop up throughout the day.
Okay. So as a human resources, are you do you hire employees also?
We have a clerical person who posts the positions that we offer, but I do all of the orientation process with the new hires. So they normally spend, right now because of COVID, they spend one day with me. Normally it's 2 days where we go through all of the employee paperwork, make sure I have their payroll information to be able to submit their payroll and get them all enrolled in that process. And then there's some basic onboarding trainings that I'm required to make sure that they have taken care of before I send them loose to their supervisors for whether it's the therapist or a case manager, things such as that.
Is there any training you have to get, throughout in the future or, to keep up with your job?
So we are funded, we're a nonprofit company, but we're funded through the state of Pennsylvania through the Department of Drug and Alcohol programs. So they do have certain requirements when it comes to trainings that we must have. Every year I attend their fiscal conference where we go over different things that the state requires us to track and report back on. So we have to be able to know how to submit all that stuff. So they offer trainings a few times a year that we're required to attend. There's some other boring ones like ethics and confidentiality and addictions 101, just specific to our field because of what drug and alcohol counseling and case management services provide. But other than that, any HR law type things, I just try to keep an eye out and make sure I'm getting in. I think I'm required to have 12 hours a year of continuing education credits.
Okay, thank you. So officer, what does your typical day look like? I'm sure it's not typical, but
Yeah, I can't call any day typical. It just depends on what's happening on a particular day. Typically though, I'm in the criminal investigation unit, which is comparable to a detective unit in any other agency. So essentially what I do is I come in and let me mention that I work swing shifts. It's not a constant 7 to 3 shift or a 3 to 11 shift. We work weekends and holidays. My particular stretch of work is 10 days on, 4 days off. And within that, I work 7 to 3s and I work 3 to 11s. It just depends on how the schedule lies. But kind of like Miss Meade, I come in, I check my emails, and essentially that's how we get acclimated as to what's been going on throughout the evening that we're not working or whatever. Then we attend a roll call. And again, that covers both an oncoming shift and an outgoing shift. So we know, again, what's going on within the community and where attention might be needed. If nothing happens to be going on, then we have multitudes of paperwork, and then ongoing criminal investigations that need follow-up. I just to name a few of the things that we do.
so what do you enjoy the most out of your job?
Essentially dealing with the community, helping helping the community. That's why I do what I do. I enjoy assisting others when they're in their time of need. So,
And what do you enjoy the least?
That's an open question. It really is. There's plenty of things that we don't enjoy, but it's just part of the job. I'm not going to go into detail. I don't think I want to go into
Yeah,
detail.
that's fine. How about like the biggest challenge that you face?
Probably, well, like today's environment, it's an up and down environment as far as the culture goes with the police. We're loved, we're hated, and with the discontent with the police, is the effect that it has on the community as far as getting assistance for example, like a criminal investigation. It's not just it's black and white all the time. We have to talk to people, and if people don't accept us, then it makes it a little bit harder. So
Yeah, that's understandable. And do you have to do any follow-up training throughout the years?
every year we have manual in-service training or mandatory in-service training, where we get updated on different case law or different laws that have been affected since the last time or that same time of the previous year. We have weapons qualifications every year that we have to qualify with our weapons every year, at least twice a year usually, but with COVID things have been a little bit different. And then there's trainings. A lot of it has been online, where again with case law and different laws that have come into effect. And then you have the voluntary training, where if you see something that relates to your particular job field or a specialized position, then you can also take that and go that route.
Okay. So Krystal, how about if you tell us, what do you enjoy about your job?
So my thing I enjoy the most about my job is the fact that what I do makes a difference. So just because I sit in the office and crunch numbers and pay bills and then do the orientation process with new hires, I keep those business aspects of our agency running so that we're able to provide drug and alcohol treatment to people in our communities. So it's the bigger picture of it for me. Granted, yes, I'm a numbers geek. I love to just sit and analyze and focus on my numbers, but full circle, I make a difference, even if I'm not the one providing those direct services.
So what do you like the least?
The least about my job that I guess I would say is the reporting. So I had mentioned that we are funded through the state with different funding sources that require you to report back how you've spent money, or what money you haven't spent, what you've spent it on. So sometimes you think you're reporting and you're gathering information like you should be, and then the state's like, "Ooh, we want you to do it this way." So sometimes just making sure you're staying on top of that reporting can be a tidbit of a nightmare. It's the challenge that keeps you focused.
Yeah, for sure. And what would you say is a challenge?
We have struggled over the last year, as most everyone really has. The last year's been crazy. So, keeping track of, like, when it comes to budgeting, it's been exceptionally difficult. It's been exceptionally difficult to hire anybody. If you know of anyone over 18 looking for a job, the market's available right now. There's tons of people hiring. So it's been exceptionally difficult to hire people. So that means we're sitting running short-staffed, which has made things complicated, especially in our 24-hour inpatient facility.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely a challenge all around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll throw it out to the students. Do any of the students have any questions? We'd love to hear from you.
They have no questions.
No questions.
Not
None
yet.
whatsoever. Okay,
No.
so we'll move along. So Krystal, why don't you tell us, throughout your years, if you could go back, like what pieces of advice of things you've learned along the way that you wish you would have been told back when you were in high school?
Guess my biggest piece of advice to have told myself would have been to make sure that I picked a career that didn't feel like a job. You know, there's that stigma around you have to go to work, but if you really enjoy and love what you're doing, then it doesn't feel like work. I am excited to go into the office. Every Monday is a fresh start to my work day. Come Friday, I'm praising the Lord that it's Friday. But I mean, up until then, you know, every day is something new, and I really enjoy what I do. I think that's the best thing, is to pick something that you enjoy, makes you happy.
Yeah, that's great advice. So, for like your particular type of job, what kind of what can students do to prepare in high school for, a job like yours?
I guess to prepare for a job like mine, academically, I mean, mine does require that education, the furthering education. So you would want to make sure, of course, that you have the grades that are required to get into a college that offers the degree that would land you in a business field, whether it be accounting, business administration, management, human resources. Um, there are some things you can do just with experience. I mean, initially I started off as a part-time secretary when I first got hired for alcohol and drug abuse services, and I've just worked my way up to where I'm at. But that experience alone made it beneficial for me to be in the position I'm in. So also, you want to be good with people. You think it's a numbers job, but it involves people so much. So you have to be able to communicate well with others.
Okay, that sounds good. Officer, how about you? Any pieces of advice you wish you would have had back in high school that you can offer up?
Well, I guess if I had to say one thing, if I guess treat my life as if somebody was watching it all the time. Make your decisions based on that hypothesis, more or less, because you kind of want to stay as clean nosed as possible in order to get on this job. There's a very extensive background investigation that goes along with applying for our job. So of course, even a summary traffic citation is brought up. So, make your decisions based on if somebody is watching you all the time. Above and beyond that, probably just, again, good grades. You want to, like Miss Meade said, you want to kind of pick a job that you're going to be interested in, one that goes, when you go into work, you enjoy going into work. I do that. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. But with that being said, speaking from experience, going out in the job field right now, getting experience in jobs that aren't related to this field or any field for that matter, that benefits you in the long run. It gives you life experience, if nothing else. So, like I said, keep your nose clean and pick something that you want to do.
So, any different advice you'd have for how they would stand out in a crowd? Like if is it difficult to get in, like to be a policeman? Is there a lot of people trying to get in, and you need to stand out from the others?
Well, again, I'll mention our current culture. Right now, it's not as appealing to occupation as it used to be, and it goes up and down. If you drew a graph, it would be way up and way down, high mountains, low valleys. And it'll come full circle again, and the curve will flatten out. But you just gotta keep your head high. That's all. And to answer your question, which you just, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if like, volunteering, if there's anything they can do in school that would just help them stand out.
Well, again, everything is based off of experience, so if you help out in the community, if you volunteer, that's going to give you experience in associating with the community. You'll see whether you like to do that or you don't like to do that. So I would highly recommend that I used to be a softball coach years ago, and that helped me acclimate myself to dealing with different aspects of attitudes with different people, or emotions for that matter. So, everything's about life experience. So
That's a very good point. You have to deal with a lot of attitudes.
sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah. Krystal, how about you? Anything that, students can do to stand out in the crowd for your career?
Similar type things. I mean, any community involvement just makes you better at speaking to people. I know you think when you're working with numbers, you may understand them, but sometimes you have to be able to portray those numbers to others. Even in the orientation process with new employees, you have to be able to speak so that they understand how the policies need to be followed and things like that. So we always look for people that are a little more involved. It helps show that you like to help others, especially in our field. Otherwise, courses that are similar in any business type field. So I don't know if VOTech offers business courses anymore. They used to. But your typing classes, your computer classes, anything like that adds to your ability to be able to go into college and complete these courses.
Right. So do you have any, Krystal, do you have anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to relay to the students today?
Looking back through my notes. I mean, when you look at human resources or accounts payable, it's not a field that you see going away. Granted, it's changed what it looks like over the last year. I mean, I'm sitting at my dining room table right now instead of in my office. So I only go into the office one day a week. But other than that, it's a needed position. Someone has to pay the bills. Someone has to hire and fire new people. So it's, I like that it's a job. It's a secure position that I have.
And your position, I mean, is available in any industry. So it doesn't matter what your interest is. There's probably someone doing a job like yours in that industry. So that's
absolutely.
So it's very you can jump from one area to another depending on your interests.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Officer Whitcomb, how about you? Anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to mention?
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, like I said, I mean, if you're interested in a job like this, again, it's a needed job. It's a very secure job. It's not going anywhere, regardless of what people think. So, once you were in a job like this, then again, it's not like a layoff job where you'd have to worry about that. If you can tolerate people, then, and different things that happen throughout your career, then it might be a good position for you. We have numerous sections. A lot of people think of PA state troopers as going out and writing traffic citations for speeding, and there's a lot more to it than that. Just to name a few, I mean, I'm a member of the fire marshal unit. I investigate fires. There's the community service unit, which would be kind of what we're doing right now. I outreach to the community. There's electronic surveillance, there's bomb section, there's a SWAT team. We call it CERT, but it's a SWAT team. If you wanted to be a pilot, you can be a pilot in the Pennsylvania State Police. That's just to name a few. So there's more to it than what people might just automatically think. So college credits, get college credits. It doesn't matter in what field. When I was getting on, my recruiter told me that she didn't care if I took up an associate degree in basket weaving. That was her words. So as long as you have an associate degree, it's a ticket in. And one thing I will mention is sometimes it's easier for other people to get on. It took myself 6 years to get on after I first started applying, after I completed my college. So perseverance, patience, that's what it takes. So that's what I got.
Yeah, that's great information. And I don't know what age group your cadet camp is, if that would fit this age group or not.
Well, I asked while we were off screen here, I asked if that was going to happen this year, Camp Cadet, and it's probably not going to take place again this year. So
what age group is that though, typically?
I believe it's 11, if I'm not mistaken. Has anybody been to Camp Cadet? I think I see a couple of you that might have been there.
Yeah, I think it's the middle school age, 11 or 12 that usually
It's
go.
11
Did
to
any
15.
of you guys go? Yeah, Brennan Burr is here with us. He did go to Camp Cadet.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to say 11 to 15, but I'm not exactly 100% sure about that age group.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning all those other job opportunities that relate, because there's some that are listed that kids typically don't think about when it comes to the state police.
Sure.
All right, so students, any last minute questions before we jump off? No, everybody's good. All right. All right, well, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time with us. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys.